That was great.
Thank you.
Great, absolutely. Sit down there.
Thank you.
Now, just back from Mount Kilimanjaro.
Indeed.
Now, you often hear people talking about Mount Kilimanjaro, and they make it sound like it's a walk up the Sugarloaf.
Yeah, it wasn't easy.
How high is it?
It's 19,000 feet, 5,890 metres above sea level.
So it's almost 6 times higher than Carrauntoohil.
Yeah. I mean, it was unbelievable. As soon as you get to about 4,000, you really start to panic. There's not a lot of oxygen. You get really bad headaches, your nose bleeds, nauseousness.
Did anyone tell you it was going to be like that?
No, I mean, we all really prepared physically. So we were in the gym training. We all had personal trainers. Paul Byrne trained me here in Dublin. I mean, I trained for 5-6 months. And I was definitely, all of us were very, very fit. But none of us were mentally prepared for the climb. You know, it was pretty serious. You had, like, the panic attacks when you couldn't breathe, especially when you're on your own in a tent at night. It happened to me on the 4th night. I jumped up out of my sleep, couldn't breathe, had to get out of my tent, walk about for a while, just to calm myself and calm the nerves. And
this altitude sickness, I mean, what are the physical effects? I mean, nausea?
Nausea, vomiting. I mean, on the last night, on summit night, when you're climbing up and you're going at, you know, it's midnight, so you start climbing to the summit, and there's vomit on either side of the path from the other people climbing.
A bit like Temple Bar.
Yeah, exactly, on a Saturday night. I mean, it's pretty gross. And then you can get pulmonary edemas where your brain starts to bleed, basically, and swell, and you have to get off the mountain very quickly or you'll die. And they told us 1/3 of the team won't make it. Statistically, that's the way it works. We all made it.
Who are you worried about?
Obviously, I think most of us were worried about Cheryl and Chris Moyles, I think. But I was really proud of them because they're so determined that there was no doubt they were making it to the top.
Well, it's for comic relief. It was in a very good cause, so everyone was determined to get there. Moments of desperation. Did anyone think at any point, I have to go back?
Well, Fern got really sick after 2 days. She got really sick, actually. And she was throwing up. She was in a bad way for you know, 2, 3, 4 days altogether of the climb. She's a total trooper. I don't know how she made it to the top. Everyone thought she was going to, you know, have to go back down. But she got through it. Incredible. I mean, the willpower was unbelievable.
Now, how did you feel at the top?
I felt great. I mean, I have to say, I did pretty well. All I got was headaches in the end, which they weren't nice. It's like pressure being pushed on your head. But once I got to the top, it was just unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. It was very emotional. We all had a bit of a tear at the top of the mountain. You know.
You also missed a very important occasion.
I did. My birthday was on the Tuesday. I called the kids and Yvonne, which was great. And, you know, that was quite tough, actually.
It was a satellite phone
I
technology.
had a sat phone, which none of the rest of them had phones. And I had this sat phone. So they were all queuing up behind me every lunch break. You know, can I use your phone, Ro? Can I use your phone? Put £1 in the jar. You know, it was great, though. It was great.
For comic relief. Yeah. But it must have been very emotional talking to the kids.
Yeah, it was tough. I started crying. It wasn't great. You know, I had to, you know, get off the phone. It was tough because you know you're tired. You're 1,000,000 miles away from home. The altitude isn't helping. So,
did they have any idea what was involved? I mean, did they realise? I mean, Dad's climbing a mountain. Okay.
I think that's the way they kid, and that's the way they should think about it. I guess you know, they were on the internet every day tracking us, seeing how much money we're raising, and we were able to record messages and send them back to the website, which was amazing. I know we found it hard, but there was these lads that were running down the mountain every day with tapes because we were editing the film as we were going along. So, I mean, these lads were real troopers.
What about running down? They had to run back up
again.
Yeah,
I know, they had to come back up.
Collect tomorrow's as well.
Incredible. Yeah.
Now, let's move on to your album. I mean, it is astonishing. We've 2 albums, Irish albums, in the UK charts at 1 and 2. You 2 were number 1, now they're number 2. And you're number 1.
Yeah, I can't believe it. I wasn't expecting number 1 at all. I made the album as a side project because we're making a Boys Own record for the end of the year. So I thought there's a bit of time here, I'll make this album. We made it with a 40-piece orchestra in 2 days.
Where'd you record?
In London, British Grove Studios. Beautiful studios. Never made a record so fast. There were songs I knew well, so it was easy for me to put them down. 8 of them were my mum's favourites, and then 2 others kind of helped me, you know, deal with her passing.
And was that the idea behind the thing? This is for Ma?
Yeah, it's for my mum. I've thought about it for a while. I never, you know, thought it'd ever come off, but everything just kind of lined up, and it was the right time, and, you know, I thought we'd do it.
That Time After Time, that was one of her favourite songs?
Yeah, she loved Cyndi Lauper. Candy Looper, as I call her. Yeah, she loved Cyndi.
And what about the other songs? What else is on?
Well, Carrickfergus is on there, which that was probably the toughest song to sing for me because it was sang at her funeral as well. And she loved that song, but it was sang at her funeral. That was hard. She loved I Believe I Can Fly from R. Kelly. That was one I was afraid of. I didn't know, you know, because it's so different from everything else on the album. But when you put the strings there, they all blend lovely. We got Joni Mitchell's Both Sides Now, Suspicious Minds from Elvis. So, I mean, a real mixed bag of songs.
Yeah. You know, listening to that list of tracks, I feel it. I know your ma a little bit better.
I know. I think everybody knows my ma, because everyone's ma, I think, is funny. There's songs on there for everyone.
Yeah,
you know,
I can imagine her in her kitchen, you know, singing along with the radio.
Oh, when she sat here in the row, you remember yourself.
I do indeed. Yeah.
I mean, she loved music, though, you know, and it's great that I can make this record for her and for everyone's ma, I guess.
I know that sometimes you're preoccupied, given the work that the Ronan Keating Foundation has done over the years, and how many people's lives potentially have been saved by that work, and you still think that maybe she could still be here today if certain things had happened.
That's kind of the way I look at it. You know, if this service, the Ronan Keating Foundation service we have on the road today, was on the road 12, 15 years ago, my mum would still be alive, because people would be more aware of cancer. They'd understand, and that's all it takes, is to understand about cancer. Early detection is your best chance of survival. And there's now a 6% increase in the survival rate of breast cancer in this country. That's a fantastic statistic.
Sure.
And there's no other countries really in the world that can say that. So we're really moving. We have a lot more to do, but we're really moving.
Yeah, and I mean, like your mum, she died prematurely, and we see poor Jade Goody.
I know, it's terrible.
But her passing is going to save lives too.
It is. I mean, it's terrible, but, you know, the amount of smear tests have gone up 200% in the UK, which is fantastic. But it's very sad the way it's happened, you know. I remember well, when Kylie Minogue was diagnosed, I was in the middle of my charity walk in Ireland, and, you know, we were getting some press, but not a lot. As soon as she was diagnosed, CNN, Sky, we had all of them, you know, on top of me in you know, small town in the north of Ireland, all asking about Kylie Minogue because they knew I was walking for cancer. And I was thinking, well, why couldn't you come here anyway? Why does Kylie have to be the reason you're here, you know?
But it helps.
But it helps, you know, and all of these things help. It's just getting the word out.
All right. Well, look, Ronan, your work continues.
Oh, thank you.
Every year you do more and more for your foundation in memory of your mother. And now the album. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Absolutely fantastic.
I appreciate it.
By the way, last question really is about the coexistence of Boyzone and Ronan as a solo project. I mean, is it possible?
Oh, very much so. I mean, this is a side project. Boyzone album is, you know, we've started. We're in the studio, in my studio at the house in Dublin. We've got the tour end of May, all of June. We're going to be playing Dublin, Cork and Belfast, which we're looking forward to, the end of May, and then through the UK in June, and then brand new studio album for the end of the year. So can't wait for that. Really looking forward to it.
Ronan Keating, always a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah. And the album is called Songs for My Mother. Good timing, Mother's Day. Yeah, absolutely. It's out now. It's in all good shops. And